Test, 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 test. Hello, everybody. My name is Rainbow Kappa. We're doing a little new Horizon stream. I was already on my island. I've been getting on around at some point in the day, daily stuff. I've been getting back into the grind. I haven't checked bladders yet, but what I usually do is harvest the fruit, take some weeds, because apparently weeds. I have a lot of weeds, but it's still relatively new. It's about a week, I think. I started, I believe, on John's birthday, I think, or the John's day, which is it was around the 5th, so it was that Friday. So it's about a week and a half. But we're gonna be vibing for a bit. As I said, my mic's I'm not gonna be using my mic much. I sent the live notification. I said earlier last stream I was gonna stream on Friday, which I'm planning on doing Friday afternoon around 3. I'm not probably not gonna make any event or fanfare about that, but that's what I'm doing live, and I'm thinking I'm either gonna do. I think I might play Persona 3, because I've been in a Persona 3 mood. I might stream Reload or the original PS2 one. I'm not sure yet, because I started a PS2 playthrough and I can't again recently, but I don't want to restart it. So either I'll do that, or maybe I'll just do the Reload. We started reloading, never really got anywhere. Casual stuff here though, so we'll figure it out. But that's my plan. Is Friday afternoon is my real stream of the week, weekly stream. But today we're just doing a little goofing around, island stuff. If you're here, links. If you're lurking, appreciate ya. Really, I do appreciate ya more than you might think. But we're vibing. It's nice outside. Dang, it's 83. Oh, didn't realize that. But yeah, this is my crib. If they gave me some stuff, I'll be playing. But yeah, the plan is I'm gonna sell some fruit literally and probably just. I might look at that ticket. Depends, really. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some miscellaneous stuff. But probably like an hour stream at most. I'll be honest, it kind of depends how long this all takes. I really am just slowly but surely, it's on most. It's not I'm slowly but surely getting enough money for Nook. And redeveloping on it, because I played this before on my island when a game came out, and like all the way back in 2020. But I don't like how from Tendago's standpoint, I think I kind of get it, but like I still don't agree with it. I think that but I used to play this game way more. I never really played it as much as New Leaf. I got into Animal Crossing with Wild World instead of I was into those games. But I never really got online because that era was weird. It's online, but it's cool. Um, I love City Pokemon, but I never really got actively into Animal Crossing. Like people say you get on every day until New Leaf, where I pre-ordered the game, followed the Japanese version because that came out before it, and I played for the following 2 years in a row. I probably did more, but I remember knowing that the first 2 years when I was like 13 and 14, because it came out in 2012. I think in Japan, but like, I was into it. I got day one and I played every day. I was hugely into it. I was like, preteen teen, so you know how that is. Um, if you're 24 like me, not as old. I say that jokingly. But I dropped that. My main point is, yeah, I played that game and eventually I just kind of gave it. There was a small feature that some people might know, or I hope people know, is when you reset your island, you can, on New Leaf, you could pretty much change your coins. Uh, I hate to admit it, but I modded my 30s pretty early on. Honestly, my original hacks, I think I didn't use any game hacks, but like as soon as that browser hack thing came around, there's two things. Before I had my 30s, a lot. This was like I think by 2016 I had a 30s, right? So now before there was this Beetle thing where we go to Turner's Island. Um, thank you, Rock Boys. Thank you for stopping by. We're just doing some new Rise and stuff. Um, what I was pretty much saying is though, when you were playing New Leaf, you got there's a the Beetle thing. If you stayed up all night, pretty or time traveled, which I know is more different than time travel. I actually stayed up, but like I did the Beetle stuff. So there was an exploit where you could get a lot of money for those grandiose Beetles, and I did, and I think I got like a couple million bells for that overall. But like that was like it took so long. So eventually I just modded, right? But oh, that was a good time in my life. But then New Horizons came on. I'll be honest. I think I just wasn't as into it because of how they did the holidays. But there's like one of those like Switch things more than anything. But I developed my island. I got to the point I think where you could pretty much do everything. I was right before the construction stuff where you could like terraform, and I already got the terraforming stuff because I shared the story. But my Switch, one of my original, not the original Switch I had, but the two version 2 one. Because I got two of them. I got it because my original Switch started to, you know, the Joy-Con rails were messing up for some reason. And it was some I don't remember, but this I had both of them, but that one pretty much was out of commission. But my main Switch with Animal Crossing and my save data and all that fell into the ocean. Just one day, I was playing my Switch, looked up. Apparently, I let go of my Switch as soon as I looked up, and it fell into the good old. I think it was either the Gulf of Mexico or Atlantic Ocean. Florida. It's in Florida on vacation, and then yep, there it goes. So, what do? You gotta get a new Switch. Ironically, I got the Animal Crossing New Horizons theme Switch, but it doesn't mean I can save my data. You can you don't have a Switch you can transfer it to. Cloud saves didn't exist. The backups I don't think existed on New Horizons either until the Happy Home stuff. This is before the Happy Home stuff. Yeah, this was on New Horizons, right? There's also New Leaf stuff. But so I was like, oh crap. I know I could just restart my save data, but this was like, I already did all this. I didn't want to time travel, it's commitment, that kind of stuff. Not bad though, but just commitment. But yeah, I finally did. I love this game. It just has like a place of my nostalgic for me, but like, it just takes so much time to do. But yeah, we're here, we're vibing. I thought there would be more stuff in this chest, by the way, but apparently they don't ever restock it. It's just that's kind of sad that they don't ever restock it. Maybe you have to upgrade the shop and that does it, but maybe they realize that or just abuse it. Wow. How about rocks? Yeah. You know I want more iron nuggets. They're not gonna give them to me, are you? Welcome in, Exito. How's it going this fine Tuesday? I had to think about these even though Rockley's here, just said it. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. We're just doing a little stuff today. We're doing some maintenance, selling some stuff, harvesting some fruit, all that. Pretty short stream. Probably like an hour stream, but thanks for stopping by. We're lurking. Appreciate it. If you're here, I hope you have a good one. And yeah. I said earlier, but I'll probably be doing a longer stream this Friday, in the afternoon, around 3, so around kind of like now, we'll be doing it, but you know, go from there. I did just realize there was an echo, a double source, so hopefully that. I did just realize there. It's so silly to follow. Yeah, that works. Well, I'm trying to remember when you do about this, but currently I have ladders on this upper part of the island, and the only way you can get up there right now is using a wetsuit, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't think this was intentional game design. So every time I want to, time them, which I haven't yet because of this very reason, you gotta swim, which isn't bad, but like, it's also, why did I do this, kind of, why? I don't know, maybe it's the way I'm dressed. I got a wetsuit on now, so I have others. That's what I was just talking about. I was waiting for the vaulting pole, but like, because technically you can go to across the island now with a wetsuit, but also they don't expect you to have a wetsuit, right? So it's just kind of funny in a way. We're actually across the river right now. bugs. I do like that little touch that you get scared if you show off a bug. He just hates bug threads. I respect that, but like I don't respect people being afraid of bugs. I get it though. That should be a better word for that. I think I already gave Tom Nook one of those bugs earlier, so I got it. So yeah. I'm pretty sure. Alright. I'm just curious here. Alright. Guys, I'll be wrapping up right now, for the stream. I appreciate everyone coming by. As I said, it was a shorter stream. I am gonna be rating John. He's planning on to be rated, I think. I was just in there, so I'm going to, hold on, go over there. I just wanted to do a little small stream. Wasn't planned, wasn't doing anything like that. But yeah, stay tuned for Friday. I'm planning on doing a Friday stream. Something Persona related, I think, because I said that last time. But what specifically, we're just gonna find out. Chill and all that. But, I think we're about Kappa. And until next time, here's Kappa. Okay, I'll just... Until next... This is Kappa, until next time, Kappa. Play it.